It's Friday night, everybody. You know what that means. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. Let's get together and play a ton.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Jon.
And we're...
Batman.
No, we're FridayKnight.Games.
We are two board game enthusiasts who want to immerse you into our love of the hobby by bringing you board game content every single Friday. We create for several platforms, including Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube, and the internet. It's awesome.
And currently, we're looking for advertisers. So if you like your product or company featured on our podcast, please send us an email at info@FridayKnight.Games. We're reasonable, I swear.
On today's show, we are going to discuss my favorite superhero of all time.
Superman.
Batman.
Wait, it's not Superman?
No, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We say this we say this all the time. Batman is your favorite.
So we're going to talk about why I like it so much, why Batman's loved in the industry, mandatory Batman game elements, some Batman games, what's coming soon, some story arcs that we like, and some hot takes on the movies.
Sweet. Let's just hit this straight. Let's just get this going. Jon, why do you like Batman so much?
You know what? I think the biggest reason, why it had such an impact on me was it's because the Tim Burton 1989 Batman movie was the first movie I saw in theaters.
Really?
And I remember,
how old were
my
you?
sister took me to see it. 4.
6. 4, wow.
4, yeah. I remember my sister taking me to see it, and I was super jazzed because they say something like "damn" in the movie or something like that.
Whoa! Stop it.
Yeah, and I was telling all my friends that
that would have been me.
I was in preschool. No, I was in preschool,
okay.
And I was telling all my friends that I was like, "Oh yeah, they say damn." I'm like the coolest kid now. They swore.
I know swear words. I know swear words. Jon, you want to hang out with me?
Yeah, pretty much that's how that went. Another big reason I like him, I think the villains that he has are super awesome, and they can be really deep and create really nice stories that can get pretty awesome. You know, he doesn't have any superpowers, so he uses his mind and money. His mind as a weapon, and he has well thought out plans to defeat any problem. So he's part of the Justice League, but he's got a takedown measures for every superhero in case any of them turn bad. He doesn't kill, which is cool, but that obviously serves a problem because the bad guys always escape Arkham Asylum. But I mean, he's been going on, I think it's 80 years now. So
yeah,
DC's doing something right with Batman. So
I do think he's a fascinating villain, mainly because he doesn't have superpowers and he's just very clever.
Yeah,
right.
Fascinating hero. Yeah, that's it. I mean, and he's Batman.
Sweet.
I don't know. I just like I like a lot of the comics that I've read, and they're pretty good.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts on why a theme like Batman does so well in the board game industry?
I mean, you can just slap Batman on, and it's probably going to sell. It's easy to market. It's already known brand. It's going to pull in. The Dark Knight movies alone brought in $6 billion worldwide.
Sources Wikipedia on that. Check it out. It is a lot. That is a lot of money.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe, to compare, has generated $22 billion.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, when you think about it, Batman isn't as many movies as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it makes sense that $6 billion's a lot for Batman to bring in. When you think about per movie, it's probably on par, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty impressive.
If you make something with Batman combined with the board game, you have a high chance of pulling in gamers or create new ones. So it's it's kind of worth the risk there. You could probably get a good return on your investment throwing that Batman symbol on there.
Yeah. So when we were at Gen Con 2019, and we were actually doing more research for the game we were trying to come up with, and I was there with Bill and Matt, and when we were there, I noticed that there's certain games that were pulling in a lot of people, right? And when you ask, when I asked them what games are you excited about, they kept naming games that were kind of based off of IPs and licensed property, right? And I'm well, I kind of challenged them. I'm because they're if we slap Batman on our game, it will sell. I was yeah, well, if you slap Batman on anything, it will sell. I kind of challenged them why, and the reasoning is that Batman is a brand that's already out there. You don't have to do any marketing on it because it's already marketed like crazy. It's in movies, it's in comics, it's in toys, it's in video games, it's in everything. Meanwhile,
Right.
You're making a new IP or something new, it's hard to it's hard to get it out there because you don't have Batman on it. right? So it's
Right.
not going to sell as well. And also, like, it brings in new people into that hobby, right? It's easy, it's a theme that's already out there, and you just apply the theme to the game. The story's written. You just have to you just have to like pull from a famous creator. You just take a game engine that already exists and you slap the two together, and you have something that's going to make something. It's going to make some money for sure.
Right. And it's cool. Like, you can always just like take games and you can throw a Batman skin on it and tweak the mechanics a little bit and the rules to better suit the theme. But for example, like Love Letter did it, and it's very much the same game as the original Love Letter. It's just Batman themed, right? You're just trying to kind of take down the villains.
Right, and then when you think about it, they made the Marvel Infinity Gauntlet, which is kind of similar to Batman Love Letter, right? So you could take that and just put something on it. These movies people already know about them because they made $6 billion for Batman, $22 billion for Marvel. So you have these brands that are out there. All of a sudden, you put a game like that out, it's going to sell very easily.
For sure.
So John, this question is for you and your love of Batman, your love of board games. So what are mandatory Batman elements a board game that is about Batman should have?
I thought about this for a long time, and I don't know if this is like a definitive list. When I think of Batman, I think like, you're going to need some sort of detective skills, a good story. I would like to see a board game that doesn't borrow heavily from an existent story arc, try to create something new. Obviously, it's got to have Batman in it and a really good villain. So, there's the Batman's got a big rogues gallery. So it's just really choosing the right one that would fit the theme really well of the game you're trying to make.
Would you be satisfied with a new villain and a new story? Would that be like something you look forward to?
It's tough. Like, I don't know if a board game would be the right medium to introduce a new Batman villain, or if Batman's just so old that well, I guess they introduced a couple new villains the past couple years, so it's doable. Yeah, I don't know if a board game would be a right medium to introduce a new villain, though. I think you'd have to establish it in the comics and then go from there.
Nice. And then detective skills, how would that play out in a board game? Like, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, that's why I had a hard time with this list, right? Because it's just like, how would you portray detective skills well in a board game? It would just have to fit the story, right? So
something hidden, maybe? Like there'd be like hidden.
Yeah, maybe like hidden messages or something. Maybe there's like I don't know. Maybe even they made like a choose your own adventure Batman game, right? That'd be kind of cool. You can do it that way, or like maybe have like envelopes with hidden things in it. I honestly don't even know because I don't think we've played a Batman game that has the detective skills. And I think too, a lot of even in the movies, they haven't really explored that aspect of him.
Right.
Very well, which is, well, I can get into that later, but I think it's a big thing missing in a lot of the Batman merchandise that's out there. It's just like, at the end of the day, he's just a detective.
Right.
Trying to solve whatever's going on, right? And how he can solve this problem.
Dude's got money.
So.
Money solves all problems. There you go. There's the element you forgot. Money.
More money, more. Yeah, if the board game just came with a pile of money in it, sold.
Yeah, you just open the box, and just money just pops out
Just money.
Enjoy the game.
So, yeah. I mean, or you can throw in like some cool like technology aspect to it too, right? Because Batman uses technology to his advantage as well.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, tech and also like some of the alternate series or alternate arcs or whatever for it use a lot of tech too. Cool. So we are a board game podcast, so we do have to talk about board games at some point. So what have we played so far, Batman-wise? I mean, there's a lot of Batman games out there. I think there's like 100 or so. But what have we played?
Well, it comes to mind, like recently we played Batman Who Laughs Rising by the Op. Played Talisman Batman by the Op as well. Batman Love Letter by AEG and Cryptozoic. And then obviously the DC Deck Builders by Cryptozoic as well. And then we've also played Batman the Animated Series Adventure.
Right. And we haven't played Batman Gotham City Chronicles. I'm sure there's a bunch of other Batman games we haven't played.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually one cool one that I was looking up. I think it's called like Almost Gotham, I think it is.
Okay.
And it's based off an episode of the animated series where Batman infiltrates his rogues gallery as a villain. And they're playing like a poker game. So he like infiltrates, disguises himself as a villain and tries to take them down that way or something like that. So they made a board game based off that. So it seems pretty cool. That probably would have some detective skills in it, or deduction skills at least.
Yeah,
so.
deduction for for certain.
I remember that episode.
Do you?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Did he
it
win?
was Batman. Batman disguised himself as Killer Croc, and then they were going around the table with Two-Face, the Penguin, Poison Ivy, all sharing stories about how they almost got Batman. And then in the end, he reveals himself. He's been hiding as Killer Croc, and then he goes and takes them all out. So it's a pretty good episode.
Nice. That's Kevin, by the way. Our editor chimes in.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the show, Kevin.
Oh, hey.
Kevin's
Oh,
actually
you
a
guys are
big
recording.
Batman fan too, so he's part of this. He's actually written in, so it'll be cool. So okay, well we'll talk about what we played tonight on the stream, which would be 2 weeks ago now. But we'll talk about that. So that's Batman, the animated series, adventure game by IDW. That game, the module we played was Shadow of the Bat. We played episode 4, act 1. It's a huge game. So let me give you a little breakdown of it. Basically, I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but just it's a dice rolling game. You roll a bunch of dice. Those are your actions. It has a cool mechanic that characters that are next to you can share dice values, which is pretty cool. And then everything else just plays out like D&D. That's my description. Everything else is just D&D. You know, you have line of sight, you have different areas. It's a top-down grid view. I guess I should also mention that there's 2 modes, co-op and competitive. Competitive, one player actually plays as one of the villains in the scenario, and then has a villain deck playing versus the other players playing as the heroes, which is actually really cool. Co-op, the villain has like an AI, which is pretty straightforward on how to use it. I'm not going to go into it. There's just so many rules, which if you really want to hear about it, listen to what we played Wednesday 2 weeks ago. That will explain everything to you. Actually, it won't even explain everything to you, though. We just go over stuff. But yeah, we played it, and I thought it was pretty cool. What did you think, John?
Yeah, I liked it. Like, unfortunately, we played on Tabletop Simulator, so it adds a lot of time to your turn and your rolls and stuff like that. But, I mean, if it's something that we had on our table, I think it'd be something that I would enjoy playing often. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we can get together again soon and actually play the game together.
I mean,
but
by the time this podcast gets released, we might be playing stuff in person again, which would be nice. So
yeah.
But on a cool note, so it was really funny because we were podcasting about this today. Last week on Wednesday, you kind of pivoted what we're gonna play. You're like, "Hey man, we should play Batman," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. I know we can't be in person," so I started looking up like what's on Tabletop Simulator or what's on Tabletopia, and this game came up, and I'm like, "All right, cool. Maybe we should play this." And then so I kind of responded to you. I'm like, "Yeah, I got it, dude. I got it." And then Thursday, I started reading the rules. And I'm like, I don't got this, but we committed. We're going to play it on Friday, so I better suck it up. And I'm like, honestly, there's 40 pages of rules. I'm like, it can't be that bad. And it really isn't. It's just that there's a lot of stuff to know. Like, there's little nuances like, hey, you could do range attacks, but they have to be 2 spaces away. Hey, the AI targets in this sort of way. And I'm just like, at one point, I'm just like, okay, there's no way we're going to understand all these rules. We're just going to play. And we did. We played a 3-hour game Friday. I'm sorry, John. I was reading the rules for maybe like an hour as we're trying to figure stuff out.
That's okay.
But there's just a lot going on. But that game went well. We won.
Yeah.
Even though we got all the rules wrong, but we still won. So that's all that matters, right? And then we played again on the stream, which actually we played it more right. We still played it wrong, but we played it more right. which
That's what it is.
Well, I found it hard because we're trying to interact with the stream and play the game, and I'm like, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna be here forever. So at one point, I just started rolling for you. I'm just gonna roll.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was having technical difficulties as well, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. How would you rate that to the other games though? Like, do you think? Like, which of those 5 games that we just mentioned, which one do you like the most, or which one would you highly recommend? Which one would you recommend to a specific person, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. Out of all the games that we played, so we've got like Batman Who Laughs Rising, Talisman Batman, Batman Love Letter, and the DC deck building game. I really enjoyed Talisman Batman. I like the take of that game. So you're actually playing as the villains trying to escape Arkham Asylum, and and Batman plays just like he's more of like a shadow figure. He's a non-playable character, and he just comes up in combat. And I like how dark the game was, so it kind of took that side of the comics, which I like. And then the Batman animated series is more campy, I guess. Maybe not. Campy is not the right word, but it's more light because it's obviously a children's show. I really like Batman Who Laughs Rising by the Op. That game's like super challenging. I think we'll play like 5 or 6 times and haven't even beaten it yet. And I'm a huge fan of deck, but like I just love them all.
Yeah, you just love Batman. Look, okay, I'm gonna give my breakdown. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Well. Hold on a
yeah.
sec. I think if I'm gonna suggest anything, I would say check out like Talisman Batman by the Op or the Dark Knight's Metal deck building game by Cryptozoic. Those have been my 2 favorite games that we played.
It's really interesting because when I look at this list, it's very diverse. Like I look at the Batman Who Laughs Rising, that is a great. I had a lot of fun playing it co-op, and it was hard. We never beat it, so I found that really awesome. The Talisman Batman, I found it like very, very. It was a very thinky game. So if you kind of like that type of dungeon crawly type of game where you got to like level up a bit, that was really good. Love Letter I haven't played, but I'm assuming it's just like Love Letter, so that's for like the casual fan. The deck builder, if you like deck builders, it's very good. We played the Dark Knight's version, right?
Dark Knight's Metal.
And I thought that version was beautiful.
And I hear there's like a dual deck builder where Joker versus Batman. I heard that one's fantastic. I haven't played it yet. I do have it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then like the animated Batman animated series adventure game that we just played, like I think that is a very strategic game. I think it kind of plays out like the series. Like we kind of like beat up the small guys really quickly, but I think it's like it's just like so cool to like it immerses you in it and kind of makes like a D&G adventure episodic thematic game that you could play, which I think is amazing. So there's something for everyone. Which one I like the most? I really like the Batman Who Laughs Rising the most because it was co-op, it was super hard, and when you play it you're like, man, like we need to play this again to beat it. So it kind of had that same sort of thing, whereas like compared to the animated series one, we just kind of like we felt like we beat it too easy. Even if we were playing wrong or playing right, I still think we'd be beating it pretty quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet. So is there any Batman games you're really hyped up for? Is there anything coming out? Like I'm not sure.
Oh dude, yeah, for sure. So a few months ago, Cryptozoic shared that they were making a solo Batman game based off the Dark Knight's Return story arc by Frank Miller.
Nice.
So basically you play as Batman and Carrie Kelly Robin. He's been pulled out of retirement. Basically Gotham's been taken over by these like mutant thugs and stuff like that, and you kind of have to fight like everybody. So like in the comic he battles Superman, he battles the Joker, Two-Face. So it looks like from what I'm reading, it kind of looks like you might have to fight like waves of villains.
Oh,
I don't know too much about it, but you have to level up in the game. And the final act, I think is where you're fighting like Superman and the Joker and stuff like that. It has missions in it. It's a solo game. It's got some miniatures in it. It looks gorgeous just from like the mock-up art that they've got going on. And it launches soon, sometime in February, March. So I'm looking forward to backing it because that's, I think, one of the 2 games I'm going to back this year that I know, and I've already backed one.
That is sick. Do you wish it wasn't solo? Like, do you wish it had like co-op element to it, or do you think solo is the way it should be?
I mean, since obviously you're playing as Batman, but because like he does have Robin in that story, I mean, it could be competitive. Could be cooperative, but I'm interested to see how it plays solo. So that kind of intrigued me as well.
Yeah, I did hear like some feedback where people are like, oh, it's solo, I'm not gonna buy it, but it's like I don't know, like I don't like if COVID has taught us anything, solo games are in. In fact, I play more.
Yeah, for sure.
I play more games solo than I play co-op or competitive.
Right.
I play more games solo. I just play a ton of games solo because that's how I learn the rules. So if I'm gonna learn the rules, I want to play solo, right? I want to actually play the game.
Right. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's one of the only games I really know that's coming on a Kickstarter that I wanted to back this year.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Maybe that'll be it.
I'm looking forward to playing your copy of it.
Sounds good.
All right. So, anything else you want to talk about board game wise with Batman?
Just like if you love Batman, just check them out. Like everyone we've played has been a pretty decent experience so far. Like I said, my favorite are Talisman and Dark Knight's Metal deck builder.
All right, cool. Well, let's move away from board games a bit and into just the Batman. Let's nerd out about Batman. So I know you two are a lot more knowledgeable in the Batman universe than me. And I know that you may have not read all the comics, but, both of you keep up to date on the arcs and stuff like that. So on that note, what is your favorite story arcs and why?
I don't know. It's hard because there's so many good ones, and I don't want to be like cliche and say something like Dark Knight Returns or something like that. But I thought about it a while when I was making up the notes here, and I think I'm gonna go with the Black Mirror.
So what is the Black Mirror? I have no idea what that is.
The reason why I chose this one was when I was on my comic book collecting phase of life. I was trying to find like really good Batman stories, and I was trying to collect all like the single issues of the comics instead of buying the graphic novels. And this one was like the hardest one to find all the comic books for, because there was like this 1 month that DC just released like comics. They didn't have the title of the comic, it was just like the symbol and some art. So those books were like super hard to find, and I think it took me like a year and a half, almost 2 years, to find that one book.
Wow. Why?
Before I found it.
Just
because it was like a limited, not I want to say limited run, but like a special edition cover that they did for that 1 month, and that just happened to be during this run.
You were looking for a very specific okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So I ended up finding it. I went to a comic book store in Detroit one day, and I was just like, yeah, just maybe it is, and it was there, and it was like $2, and I was like, done. So like it wasn't even like expensive or anything, but it was just, I saw it and I was like, it took me so long, and then I went home that day and I read the entire series and fell in love with it. But anyway, the Black Mirror was written by Scott Snyder, who also wrote the New 52 series and the Dark Knight's Metal series. It was the last Batman story before they launched the New 52. So what's cool about it is that Dick Grayson's actually Batman, not Bruce Wayne. There was a series where like Bruce Wayne died, but he came back to life, and he started running Batman Incorporated, so he appointed Dick Grayson to be Batman in Gotham City. And he battles against several villains, and one of them is selling like supervillain weapons on the black market. For example, like the crowbar that killed Jason Todd. The concept of the story is that Gotham City is its own character, and it reflects like the seedy nature upon those who try to protect it. And it focuses, like I said, on Dick Grayson as Batman, and Commissioner Jim Gordon puts both of the city's protectors to the test. Dick Grayson has to really, he's having a hard time, identifying with being Batman. And when he's seeing Gotham, he sees like the really dark side of that city. And Gordon is dealing with his estranged son, James Gordon Jr., who returns back to Gotham. He's like a psychopath, essentially. The story just worked itself out really beautifully. I really like the idea of a villain. The villain in the book's called the Dealer, and he's, like I said, selling supervillain weapons. So that was kind of cool little hot take. Batman had to again go undercover and go to one of these auctions and see what was going up. So I had a little bit of the detective element in it.
Okay.
Which
no one get upset with me. No one get upset with me. Who is Dick Grayson?
Oh man, go home. Dick Grayson is the original Robin.
Oh,
he's the first Robin.
Who's the second Robin then?
Jason Todd.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And then he died.
Right. Death in the family.
Death in the family.
Okay.
Death in the family.
Okay. Thank you for not getting angry at me.
No worries.
I appreciate that.
It's okay. It's all right.
What about you guys? What do you guys like?
Come on, Kev. Chime in here.
So just real quick, for the uninitiated, the New 52 that John's referring to is one of the reboots that DC did, and they did a whole pretty much almost industry-wide reboot for everything, so that's what he's referring to there. One of my favorite ones back from it's a little more nostalgic just because it was around time when I was finishing up high school. It's Hush, written by Jeff Loeb, and has awesome art by Jim Lee, where Jim Lee is now CEO of DC, and that was back in about 2002. So it's basically a story that leads Batman through fights with multiple of his enemies, as well as bringing in several of his allies. He tries to figure out who this new villain, Hush, really is. It weaves in a lot of the things that I like about Batman stories. It brings in a lot of action, some detective work, deduction, and then it brings in a lot of his allies and enemies, which are really cool.
And money.
Money's like the other superpower, basically. It's like, with like almost infinite money, you can do like damn well near anything. But it's really cool in the story because he goes and he fights with Superman. He almost kills the Joker. He goes and explores like a potential romance with Catwoman, so that's kind of weaved into the story there. And then it kind of brings back Jason Todd a little bit, who, like we were talking about earlier, was the second Robin.
Spoiler alert.
It's been out for like, what, 20 years almost?
Well, if you're new to Batman,
so
it's spoiler alert here. Read it from the beginning.
you're going to have to go back to, what, Detective Comics 27?
Wow, how do you even know that? You have to go back to Detective Comics 27, page 8, line 4 to see the crowbar.
For the first time that Batman is introduced.
That's
But,
funny.
yeah, Hush was a really cool villain that I liked a lot because he
Yeah, it was cool.
Initially he was a friend of Bruce Wayne's when they were growing up. He eventually grows up, becomes a world-renowned surgeon, but then he's always had it out for the Waynes because Tommy Elliott tried to kill his parents when he was younger to get all their wealth and their money, and it was Bruce Wayne's dad, Thomas Wayne, that saved Tommy Elliott's mom's life. So then he's always blamed the Waynes for it. It was really cool how they weaved everything into the story, and it kind of led you along, and you're like, oh, who's Hush? It's like, who's this guy?
Hush. I get it. Oh, I'm terrible.
How about you, Matt?
You know what? I've only read I think I actually had maybe. No, I definitely didn't have the Death in the Family comic, but I knew about it. So my brother and I were into comic book collecting when we were like 6, which doesn't say a lot. It just meant we went to the store, we saw comics, we really liked them, and maybe we bought a couple, maybe even later on too. But the only story arc that I'm knowledgeable about or even know anything about was the Nightfall arc, actually. And at this point I was actually too young to even realize that this was an arc. So I just saw it. And if you don't know, it's the tale of Bane basically paralyzing Batman, and then Bruce Wayne has to try and beat his paralyzation, which is kind of, supernatural, I guess, maybe slightly weird. And after that, a new Batman takes over named Jean-Paul Valley. I have no idea who he is in the story. I just know the name because I researched it. And he comes out as Azrael, who is like a way more high-tech Batman on steroids. It even has kind of like an edge to him. Like, he'll beat up villains and does not care about... He cares about justice, but he cares more about harming these people and getting them out of the picture. And he kind of becomes evil in the end, and is ruining Batman's image. So Batman has to basically get over paralyzation, come back, and then remove Azrael from being Batman.
Azrael.
Sorry?
Azrael.
From being Batman. Clearly, I did not read a lot of Batman, but I did learn the Dark Knight Rises borrows, the Dark Knight Rises movie with Bane borrows heavily from this story arc where Batman kind of has to come back and fix everything.
Yeah.
Which was super cool because it was actually super cool and super disappointing because when I heard Bane was the villain, I'm like, wow, that's my childhood. That's amazing. I'm so excited. But then when I saw the movie, I'm like, this is nothing like I remember. This makes no sense. They clearly just took elements. Oh man, I don't know.
I have all those books. I should read it.
You have all the Nightfall books?
I do.
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool. I know they came out with a giant graphic novel at some point, which I just read in Chapters. Chapters is like Barnes and Noble of Canada. So I just sat there and read it one day. I still don't remember anything of the arc though.
So Matt, do you still have your comics?
Yeah, I think I do. Actually,
Yeah, I do.
I don't. I have to go see. I have a lot. I have a mixture though. I don't have necessarily I have Batman. I have X-Men.
Watch Matt have Detective Comics 27. Doesn't know about it.
Why is that worth a lot of money?
Sitting on millions. Millions.
No, I don't have that book. Trust me. If I did, I probably opened it and read it. To be honest with you, it's a no.
Dude,
it's a no.
it doesn't matter.
It's a no condition to be sold. Probably chocolate stains on it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a kid. I don't care.
I actually have, Matt, your copy of the last issue of Nightfall. That was your copy.
You stole my copy?
I didn't steal it. It was you and your life partner Sam had a book club.
Oh.
And then our mutual friend Dan came in there, and he knows I love Batman. So then he saw that you had the last issue of the Nightfall arc, so he traded that one in. And then the next time Dan saw me, he gave that to me.
That's a graphic novel.
Like, oh, okay,
That's
cool,
a graphic
thanks.
novel. You have the graphic novel, I'm pretty sure.
Believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I actually
Yes.
had the comics of it. I bought that graphic novel because I had the comics, and I really like that arc because, as a child, you attach yourself with things. And obviously
Yeah.
I like seeing a superhero die. That was all the rage in the 90s, killing off superheroes. Superman did it. Or someone did it to Superman, someone did it to Batman. So I really wanted to see how that
Yeah.
ended. And I kind of remember parts of it only through that graphic novel, to be honest. That's where most of my arc knowledge comes from.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think I read through it back in grade 6. We had like a reading marathon or something. So it was like just everybody brought in a bunch of books and we read it. And I think I read through Nightfall that day.
That's awesome. All right, cool. So let's move on to something more lighthearted. I mean, when you think Batman, I think the movies. Am I right? So
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
So let's
A lot of people do.
Let's do some hot takes. All right. Favorite Batman movie? Worst Batman movie? Go. Who wants to go first?
You go first.
Oh, okay. All right. Matt, really like the 90s movies.
Some were good.
I'm sure.
Some were good.
I'm sure they didn't stand the test.
Put some crickets in there.
I'm sure they didn't stand the test of time, though. But it had some of the.
Yeah, they don't hold up.
But some of the best villains were in those series. Can anyone say Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Dr. Freeze? Who's with me on this?
What?
You didn't think that was awesome?
Dr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze? Mr. Freeze.
Mr.
Oh
Freeze.
my. I can't even get this right.
No, I mean, the only thing good Arnold did in that movie was like, what did the dinosaurs say to what did the Ice Age say to the dinosaurs? Everybody free or everybody chill. Like that's the only thing that came out of that movie.
Yeah, his one-liners.
No, I did like Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. Though.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
That movie
I have
was
another hot
garbage.
take. I don't think anyone will ever agree with this though. That was Batman and Robin. That was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I don't. What do you think of that? I thought he was great. I thought Jim Carrey was great as the Riddler.
See, the thing with Jim Carrey as the Riddler, he was too comical. So he was almost more of the Joker playing the Riddler than the Riddler.
So you think Jim Carrey should have been the Joker?
No. No.
No.
But I think they were just kind of playing like that like Batman Forever is just so ridiculously campy, right? And like it wasn't the worst movie of it, but it's just like they were playing off Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey was in his prime at that time, right?
Yes.
And he was like the best comedic actor at that time, so it was almost natural that he would play that villain. But I think they like the Riddler's he's very on par with Batman's intellect. He's just as smart, if not smarter than Batman, and has just as much money as Batman as well. He's got a lot of things at his disposal. He's like the opposite of Batman, right? Just as in like Batman's good, Riddler's not, right? They don't really have any superpowers. So I don't know. I just feel like he was too comical in that movie, but he did a good job for that movie.
Okay, so you agree. In the notes you put LOL no. So I don't know what you kind of went against it here. All right. I see what you're trying to do.
If you read my notes later on, anyway.
Yeah, and then also I actually like Tim Burton as a director of the Batman one that you really like and Batman Returns. And honestly, I like Tim Burton's a fantastic director, Nightmare Before Christmas, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
He makes things that actually stand the test of time. I don't know if those two movies stand the test of time, but he's, him being a fantastic director, I kind of see like these old school elements to those movies. So I feel like, yeah, they might, if you look back, they actually might have like probably still watch it. It's not going to be as great, but it's not full of special effects.
Oh yeah, no, they're great still. I love those two movies.
Especially at the end of Batman Returns, where it's like, an army of penguins with missiles on their backs just start marching out. Yeah, that part. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Best Batmans ever. Oh, and here's my greatest hot take of them all is the Lego Batman's the best Batman. Who's with me?
Not the best Batman, but that movie's great.
It is.
Yeah, I don't fully disagree.
And that theme song.
Oh, all the theme songs in the Lego movies are awesome. All right. Well, those are all my hot takes. Who's next?
I'll go best movie, Dark Knight Returns.
No.
The animated one?
What?
Yeah.
The animated one?
Yeah.
No, the one with Heath Ledger Joker.
Oh man, come on.
Oh,
That's
that's the Dark Knight.
Oh, sorry, yeah, just the Dark Knight.
that movie's
Oh,
so
okay.
emo.
Okay.
I knew exactly which one you're talking about, but that movie's so emo, John. Come on. It's just like
Why? How's that
I don't
emo?
know. It's just like
It's such an awesome movie.
it's good. It's a good movie. I'm not gonna say it's a good
It's
movie.
literally the best superhero movie ever made.
Yeah, I mean it is really highly renowned. Although I mean
It's up there.
the Lego Batman
Yeah.
movie is obviously the best Batman movie ever made. So okay, fine. It's the second best movie ever made. Got it. All right.
Listen, the worst Batman movie by far is Batman and Robin.
No. Come on, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Listen. When the director has to go on public record to apologize for how bad that movie is, it's a bad movie.
No, that movie's awesome. It gave us Arnold's like classic lines like "chill out."
No.
And that line you quoted earlier. Come on, how many other Batman quotes can you do from movies?
Like all of them. Listen, if you want an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote, go watch
Kindergarten
like
Cop.
Red Rising or whatever it's called, where he's like, should not drink and bake. Like that's the best one. Anyway, yeah, Batman and Robin's the worst. You know, Joel Schumacher just did not do a good job with that movie. Everyone knows it. You know, George Clooney's like a terrible Batman. You got the bad nipples.
What's wrong with
I
the bat
mean,
nipples?
Look.
Yeah,
all,
you know,
all I'm gonna say
they
is I had the greatest villain, Arnold Schwarzenegger, as the greatest Batman villain, as I said earlier, Dr. Freeze, but his name is Mr. Freeze. Clearly, it was so memorable.
You know, Mr. Freeze is a good villain. You know, I don't know. I feel like they're just throwing people in movies that whoever the big actor was at that time,
Right.
you get to be in a Batman movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything spectacular. And this is my hot take. Batfleck is the best Batman. Yeah.
No.
Listen.
Prove it to me.
Listen. Go watch those movies. He's the only actor, and I'm saying this, and I love Batman, the original Batman movie, because it was the first movie I saw in theaters. Ben Affleck is the only actor who's able to play both Bruce Wayne well and Batman well.
Except for Lego Batman, of course.
Lego Batman's Lego Batman the entire movie.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So he's the only actor, in my opinion, that has played both characters well. Because really, when you're playing Batman in the movie, you have to play two separate characters, and I think he does a really good job at playing Bruce Wayne, especially at the beginning of Batman v Superman, where he's rescuing people in Gotham City. That's my take for that. But I am actually really looking forward to the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I think that movie's going to be great. And Paul Dano's Riddler is going to outshine Jim Carrey's hands
Okay,
down.
that is a hot take. That is a hot take because you don't even know. It hasn't
Heck
even
yeah,
come
man.
out yet. You just threw that out there.
I don't.
Jim.
But from what I read, it's going to borrow from like the Long Halloween and Hush a little bit. So it's got some cool. Riddler does some cool stuff in those books. And honestly, Riddler is my hot take is that the Riddler is, the best Batman villain. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, you, Kev, what are your hot takes?
So I'm going to agree with John saying that Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. Although you said best superhero movie, I think really good honorable mention for great superhero movie is Logan, because that was a really good one.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Never seen it. Does it have Legos in it?
It doesn't have
Oh,
Legos in it.
I ain't watching it. I ain't watching it.
Worst movie, yeah, I agree with John. Batman and Robin.
You guys are the worst. But it has Arnold
You're the worst.
Schwarzenegger in it. Come on.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, as much as I love the man, did not save that movie. I'm sorry.
It's true. Best Batman actor, I'm going to go Kevin Conroy, because
Who was
he
he?
was able to voice.
Who's Kevin?
He was the voice of Batman through Batman the Animated Series, as
Oh.
well
A lot
as
of video games, the Arkham series.
I agree with that like 1000% because whenever I think of like Batman's voice in my head, that is the voice I think of.
Yep.
So,
Yep, because he did such a great job with the show, and then so many people fell in love with Batman the Animated Series when it was going on. He was the voice of him, and then also for the movies that came out after Mask of the Phantasm, a lot of the games, the Batman Arkham games, a lot of the movies. He's really stuck with me as like, whenever I think of Batman and voicing it, I think of Kevin Conroy and not Christian Bale's, where he's like, got throat cancer, trying to be Batman.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, Batman has like a smoker's cough. When he's Batman, he smokes a lot of cigarettes, let me tell you.
And then my favorite villain would probably be, just because he's really recent and I really liked him a lot, probably the Batman Who Laughs more recently. Just because he's like from an alternate universe, it's Batman and Joker dies in his universe, but then Batman becomes the Joker because he gets infected with the chemicals that turn Joker into the Joker. And then he goes on just a killing spree, killing his allies, and he just goes absolutely ballistic. I mean, the panel that sticks out with me from that comic of the Batman Who Laughs origin story is the panel where he's going and he wants to talk to like Alfred, and he wants to talk to like Batgirl and the Red Hood and Nightwing and everybody. And then it's a panel of him standing at the computer with his back turned to them, and he just turns around and he pulls out 2 Uzis and just shoots them all. Wow. And I'm like, oh geez, okay, he just like shot a kid and he's just like shooting up his family basically. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So.
Sounds like a wholesome show for everybody.
Yep. So it was the dark multiverse, so it was a good villain origin story.
I will admit it does actually have some of the most interesting characters in the universe, in the DC universe, in that story, which is pretty cool. And I only know that from playing the board games.
Yeah, from the Dark Knight's Metal, the big crossover event, the Dark Knight's Metal one. Yeah, that was really cool. And I also liked it just because Batman Who Laughs, it's kind of basically what should have happened to Batman in the Batman Arkham games. They always kind of hint at, or like they push, Batman to ultimately become the Joker, or get closer and closer to it throughout the games, but he never gets there because you're playing as Batman. So you're not going to get to that point. But I really liked the Batman Arkham games a lot because they like made you basically felt like Batman. You feel like a total badass. He was just like going around beating up guys, and you're like doing like some really light detective work, and you're like flying around Arkham City in the PS3 one, and then also you're grappling all over and you're fighting bad guys, and you're using gadgets, and it's just really cool.
Cool. Nice hot takes there, Kevin.
All right. If you like what you hear, don't forget to follow us on our socials. Instagram at FridayKnight.Games _official, Twitter and Twitch at FridayKnight.GMS. Check us out on our website, FridayKnight.Games. If you want us to check out a game, or if you've created a game, you want us to preview it on our content, email us at info@FridayKnight.Games. And remember, it's Friday night. Let's have some fun.